Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Falabonito. I'm one of your hosts, Teddy Kamani.
I'm Ryan Ruda.
And today we have some guests that you might have probably already seen on the show. We have
Guilherme Ravaneda from Brazil.
And Dillon Du Toit.
and Dillon Du Toit. In this episode, we're going to talk more about media, social media, and the influences on soccer players on and off the field.
So let's start with this one. How has social media presence impacted NIL opportunities available for college players?
Well, I think to start, the fact that NIL even exists in itself is borderline a miracle. The NCAA at least didn't for a very long time allow students to get paid to play, and I think that the fact that students have the opportunity for NIL in general, whether it's top level athletes, Division I, SEC schools, or all the way down to us earning a little bit of NIL from, our family buying a couple of our t-shirts or something like that. I think that NIL in general has been very, very important and very, very helpful to a lot of athletes who have, ended up in stardom and, have created careers out of simply being, an exceptional athlete. And that's because of media.
So would you say that NIL actually make this process a little bit like it gives more opportunity for you in order to go to a college career instead of just trying to be a professional athlete?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, I know most American sports require you to go to college. I know that I think NBA is the only one that doesn't require. Everyone else, every other
NBA
sport
does.
is required to. NBA does?
Yeah, at least 1 year.
At least 1 year. So either way, the fact that students can now go get a 4-year degree regardless, even if they're leaving early, and in 1 or 2 of those years, they can actually start to set themselves up before and start to understand really how the world works in terms of media and the opportunities that come with it before that sport becomes their job, and not just a part of their life. So I think,
Coming back to the first question, I don't see a good reason for not allowing it and like for it not happening, because if the players are getting money, it's basically because of what they are doing. So I don't see a reason for not having it.
And I think us as international players will take it the most because
Yeah.
we're not even really allowed to work here. So if we can make money in that
Exactly.
way,
Yeah.
definitely take it.
I think
Sounds
that's a
good to
bit of
me.
a gray area though now still. So if you're an international student, can you collect NIL? Do we know that for a fact?
I have no
I'm
idea.
not. I don't even know. To be
I have
honest.
no
I believe we can.
We can?
Yeah, that's why like last year we all have to set up an NIL account.
Yeah.
That's the reason, because that's like great opportunity even for us, because
Yeah,
they know
no,
that
100%.
we are not allowed to work like
Yeah.
off campus. So
But
Very
and
well.
actually, it's true because from that NIL thing that we signed, I think I'm still getting money from there a little bit.
Yeah. I haven't received a cent.
No way.
Me either.
No chance.
Yeah, no.
I got a couple bucks.
Me too. A couple bucks.
Yeah.
Pay for haircuts.
Oh, to pay for haircuts?
Yeah, because you can withdraw the money and put it in your PayPal.
Really?
Mhm.
Didn't know.
Help me. How important do you guys think it is, like, before you guys transfer to school and they send you, like, your Instagram links and all that social media, how important do you think it is that they have a nice social media page that looks like it's almost professional? Like, maybe they have videos of them training or videos of their goals in games. How important is that for you in your decision to go to school?
To be honest, I think that nowadays is top 3 most important things. I think it's probably the first thing that someone
Looks
goes
like.
and checks out when he wants to go somewhere. You check it's Instagram, Facebook, everything, and that's something that I told to our coaches here. Like last year, I said, man, you have to focus on that, because nowadays that's the thing that calls the attention of everybody
Mhm.
around the world. And so you're looking like professional, taking like good pictures, good quality videos. Someone will say, man, I want to be part of that. I
Exactly.
want to have those videos. I want to have those pictures. So I
Mhm.
think it's really important.
Sure.
Yeah, I think for me, it's as much of an investment in the team now as, a new set of balls or a shooting
Yeah.
machine, something like that. For me, as somebody who transferred and stuff like that. That profile, your online presence in general, as a school, as individuals, as a culture and environment, is so important. And I think it's becoming ever more important because, I mean, you look at the schools that we're considering you transfer to, looking at, like how I said, it's the first thing you look at. And even more so, I know for myself, you check the Instagram before you check the roster,
Yeah.
Mhm.
before you look at the website, because often those things are far more difficult to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to figure out. But to have a professionally done Instagram page, it's one thing if you got somebody who's able to come and take photos like the basketball team does or something like that. But for smaller sports as well, I think that the opportunity that having a big social media presence has, and to have a really personable and relatable social media page, it really does impact us as players, our perspective on the organization as a whole.
Yeah, for sure.
Not even like for transfers. I would say like in my case, I start to researching and looking for videos on YouTube of how it works, like soccer in America and being a college athlete. Because for me, like back home we cannot do that, so it was a completely new experience. So I had to research, and of course the media was like a crucial part in that because I could go on YouTube and look more about it.
Burr, do you
Yeah.
remember we had the Mercer page, right? And when we first arrived at Mercer, we couldn't find a page anywhere for the Mercer soccer. And I think it was you who actually started the page with Omolemo, and you kind of ran it for a bit. How do you feel that change impacted? Because by the time you were finished with that page, that there was 1,200 people following it. We started from single digits, So how did that, talk to me about that journey, like to go from a small media page in sports to really grow yourself. What do you feel? Harvey, you can answer this too. What do you feel it takes to grow that page as fast as you guys did?
I think from my perspective is knowing what the people want, because I can relate to what I want to see if I'm going to a college, what I want to see on their page. I want to see nice videos. I want to see reports of the results after every game. I want to see videos of them training, all of that stuff. And as I knew that was something that I wanted to see on the page, I put it on that page. And especially for help for people who are far away from home, because their parents always want to support them and see how the team's going. And I think we got um, a lot of following from people's parents and families, following the page. So it's very important to know your audience and what it wants, and that helps you create an audience.
Yeah, getting the parent the point
Opposite.
of
Other point.
other people that live far from home. I just remind about my parents that every since I'm here in the US like 5 years ago, my parents are always complaining because they never could find a easy or a good quality way to watch the games
Yeah.
because it's so hard to find a college who's like that streams the games
Mhm.
in a good quality like on YouTube. I don't know why. And about the social media part, as you said, you gotta know what your audience want to see, and us, we all here are players. So what we want, what we like having good pictures of us playing to post on our own profiles, good videos. So I think it's basically that posting good content, but not just throwing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
Don't be
it has to
spamming.
be, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Don't spam it.
Mhm.
So just like put good and quality things that your
Yeah.
audience like to see.
Fair enough.
Very important.
Yeah, I believe that we have to have like a plan of posting like in a week,
Mhm.
and that can set up ourselves and set us
Yeah.
apart from the other programs.
Yeah, that's how you can work quicker. If you have the whole schedule for the week planned out, and know like maybe you're gonna have a game on Saturday, and then you're gonna have some posts promoting the game for Saturday, and for practice days or whatever, away games, travel. Like they want to see all those little things away from just the game. So it's good to have some insight into what's really going
Yeah.
on.
Okay, moving a little bit, let's focus in professional players. So how do you think the media presence can affect them nowadays?
With professional players.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think enormously. At the end of the day, a lot of as professionals get younger and younger, they're still just kids, and
Yeah.
they're human beings as well. And okay, they have a special set of talents, but that special set of talents doesn't always translate over to being able to take heavy criticism.
Hmm.
You're thinking about guys who are 17, 18 years old, fresh into they burst onto the scene, their social medias explode, and all of a sudden they're having to deal with criticism, pressure, you know, um, hundreds of thousands of people giving their opinion of you on the daily. At some point the wall is going to crack, and I think that's the most difficult part, is figuring out how to keep that, those opinions and that
Hmm.
out of your head.
Yeah, every time that I talk about this topic, the first person that comes to my mind is from my team from Corinthians, the center forward, Yuri Alberto.
Hmm.
So he plays professionally since he was 16. Now the guy is only 24 years old, so he's like 2 years older than me, but
Hmm.
he's already been professional for 8 years. And like 2 years ago, he was just like he couldn't play. He wasn't doing nothing going right for him. And this last season, the team hired a professional, like how to say that?
Therapist.
Yeah,
Therapist.
professional therapist. And man, like he's a completely new player.
For
He's
real.
a whole new player. Last season, he was the top scorer for Brazil, like in the entire year for 2024. And
Hmm.
now the guy already has, I think, 8 goals in this season in like 15 games. And he always said the most important thing that happened was the team hiring
Therapist.
this therapist, because like 2 years ago, he went home. He didn't even want to look to his daughter and
Mm.
talk to her. He just want to go home, stay inside of his room, like playing video games, don't talk to anybody because of his mind.
Hmm.
Because he was like he was completely lost because of everything that he was saying, all the fans talking about him, all the media talking about him, and that like mm,
Hmm.
So talking about that, what role does mental health play in performance for professional athletes?
is as important as being
Physically fit.
physically
Yeah.
fit. Yeah,
I would say more nowadays.
yeah,
Mhm.
I
probably
think,
more.
yeah,
Nowadays, definitely more, because that perfectly goes into my next question. I was gonna ask you guys, if you compare the World Cup 2002 and the World Cup 2022, would you say the players back then had way less pressure? Like,
yeah, I think simply by math, the amount of people that have their eyes on the World Cup
Yeah,
now,
mhm.
the amount of people that are attending games, that are knowledgeable about football, or claim to be, those that are playing the sport, involved in the sport, all of us are giving our opinions. And, back in the day, it used to be 100,000 people who were in the stadium at the time that you would hear their opinion of you,
Mhm.
but outside of that, players in 2002 weren't going home to check social media. They weren't scrolling through Instagram, seeing the comments about them. You see regularly the cases of racism and stuff like that against players, especially from, Europe and stuff like that. I think that massively impacts a player,
yeah.
For
massively.
sure.
And how would you say, like a player, or even for you, how can you manage your stress after a game or before a game? Like how you manage this pressure?
I think that's a difficult one because it,
Yeah.
it depends on each and every person.
Mhm.
A lot of players have their pre-game routine, and the way that they go through that routine, they go through step by step, and it really settles them. I was lucky enough to learn, mental health, mental coaching techniques from a very young age. My father was on my backside about it regularly, how to stay calm under pressure, how to make the correct decisions. And all of those you don't realize at the time, just your dad giving you a lecture. But over the years, you look back and you go, actually, hang on a second, the guy was onto something,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and your ability to, take yourself out of a moment and really understand why you're feeling that way and how to adjust your mindset so that you can get back on track, especially after you mess up, you make a mistake. I played in a position where if I made a mistake, the opposition is one-on-one with my goalkeeper, and
Mhm.
that's worst case scenario for me. So I have to be concentrating for 90 minutes, and the mental fortitude that it takes, to do that, is very, very difficult. And the way to work around it is to have, techniques that you can use to keep yourself under control.
Sure.
Sure.
What I was gonna ask you guys, specifically on you guys' country, like South Africa and Brazil, because I think, especially when it comes to international games and like World Cups, Copa America, Euros, the media in your country is is brutal depending on which country you guys are. So I just wanted to ask, like, how does the media react to, like, say, a Brazil losing to Chile, or I don't know what would be a bad thing for South Africa losing to, I
Man,
don't know, but how does the media, like, for example, let's say, how did the media react to you guys losing against Belgium 2018? The Brazilian
man,
media.
yeah,
Hmm.
man, media in Brazil is so brutal.
Really?
Yeah, so brutal. Uh, I think I really feel that like most of the fans from the teams, they don't really like the media as well,
Hmm.
because they see that what they do, like, you can't do that to another human being,
Hmm.
they, I mean, I feel sorry for Rafinha if Brazil loses tomorrow to Argentina, because you saw what he
Yeah, I
said,
saw what
right?
he said. Hmm.
Man, I feel sorry for the guy if Brazil really lose and
He
and
doesn't
if he
score.
doesn't score a goal,
Hmm.
because it's so hard. It's really hard. I think the last time I watched some TV program, some sports TV program, like more than 5 years ago, because I
Hmm.
really don't like watching them just talking
Trash.
something
Hmm.
trash about, talking trash about every person.
I think, to agree with you, I think for me, in South Africa, it's not, I don't think it's that bad. I think we're in a stage of, we need our football to grow.
Hmm.
So there's not really any point on knocking players down,
Hmm.
so there's no real heavy criticism on, even the national team. It's very much a nice to have, I would love for South Africa to qualify for the World Cup.
Hmm.
But if they don't, life has to carry on. It's not like Brazil where it's an expectation of you to be at the World Cup and to compete at a high level. Same with Germany. South Africa is very much if we can get there, fantastic. Send the boys on the plane. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're not a top footballing nation just yet. So, the expectations can't really be the same.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I would say the worst I've noticed of that is in basketball.
Yeah.
When we go to gym, they have the TVs on,
Mhm.
and sometimes you got to watch that stuff because they've got March Madness going on now, and you
Sure.
have these guys who are, ex NBA professionals or sports commentators for 20, 30 years, and they're commenting on guys who are 18, 19, fresh in college, and they blasting these guys for missing a shot. And I'm going,
Mhm.
the guy's in math, the next day he has to go to class, and now you're on live television, on national television,
That's the
going
thing
after
that
the guy.
that's the thing that annoys me the most. Seeing and former soccer player
Mhm.
talking trash about a new soccer player,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the guy was there like 5 years ago. He
Mhm.
was at the same spot as the new player that now he's talking trash as well.
Mhm.
So I don't really know why they do that,
Mhm.
because I'm sure they didn't like when there was someone
Criticism
talking
of it. Yeah.
talking trash about them.
I
So
think I think there's like a difference between criticizing and talking
yeah.
trash. Like if you're making fun of a player, then that's, I'd say, too far. But if you want to criticize a player, that can also be motivation for the player. But like when it gets to a point where you're getting personal, where you're calling them words, then that's obviously different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like as Hava said, like I feel that in Brazil, the media sometimes can be, they took like more to a personal side than actual to a professional side. So instead of talking about how the guy performed in a day, they prefer to say about if the guy went out, if the guy hang out with his friends in the
Hmm.
same week of a game,
Hmm.
which, as he said, that's not a human being.
Yeah, they're too
You
involved in private life.
you cannot like judge his private life. Also, it came to my mind here, and then I have this question: have you seen cases where media narratives hurt a player career?
I would say, yeah, I would say especially when I look at the Premier League, what they did to Pogba, I think
Yeah.
that was pretty brutal. Cause I don't know, everything that every time you got a haircut, people were complaining. When you was just being happy, dancing, people were complaining. So I think the Premier League especially takes a lot of happiness from players. Like it's not just Pogba, it's been like Dele Alli, Jesse Lingard, all those players when I'm thinking about players who've been like treated harshly by media? I think there's way more that are not coming to mind.
I have two cases over here. The first one that I want to touch is Vinny Jr. last year about the Ballon d'Or.
Mm.
As we all know, that it is a controversial trophy
Yeah.
for a player.
Yeah.
And the ones voting in the Ballon d'Or, we know that it is the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That makes no sense.
I think it's dangerous. I think that any award based purely on either fact or subjective, opinion is inherently dangerous.
Yeah.
You need a combination of both. I think that we've been lucky, we've been spoiled to have Messi and Ronaldo, where arguably the two best players in the history of football have been so far ahead of the curve that there hasn't really been too much controversy up until recently. And I think that as we're starting to close the gap between the top players again, number 1 and 2 are no longer so far from 3 and 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all relatively on a similar level. I think that that opens up a lot more danger for controversial takes. If you ask any Brazilian, did Vinicius Jr. deserve to win the Ballon d'Or?
Sure.
They will say, yeah.
sure.
If you ask anyone else from around the world, they'll tell you.
Roger.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, coming back to the thing that you were talking about Pogba, I feel that all the media knows what to do is complain. If
Mhm.
the guy, as I said, if the guy is just enjoying his life, being happy, scoring goals, giving assists,
Mhm.
changing his hair every week, they complain.
Mhm.
But then they complain that much, then the guy is bad again. The guy is sad. He don't want to play. He's not motivated because of the media. And then guess what? They keep complaining because now he's not scoring more goals. He's not giving more assists. So I feel it's just like a cycle that never
Never
ends
ends, yeah.
of people complaining about everything.
Another case is like Neymar. So how do you feel like the media interferes in his career?
I think Neymar's case is a little bit different because Neymar for me is at the same level as he said Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. But the thing is, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, they don't really do nothing that the media can complain about, and I think that's the problem. I sometimes I feel that Neymar doesn't know how big he really is to soccer. I think like, of course, the guy has his life. He can do whatever he wants. It's not my life, but I think some decisions that he made throughout his career made this happen to him. Not only because, but of course, the media, like, it hurts Neymar a lot. They complain a lot on Neymar, but I think it could be a little bit better if he changes some of his decisions through his career.
What do you guys think about media trained players? Like, I think yesterday it was Lamine Yamal who scored a goal, and he was like on his Instagram posted something against Van der Vaart, who said something against him, and then also Ada Güler and Soboslai. Do you think that with media, all these media trained players, all these media answers, would you rather have those, or would you rather have players do what those players did last night?
Look, I'm a fan. At the end of the day, is I watch football because I enjoy it and because I love the game. So to me, a little bit of antics. I use the example for those of you who know Diego Costa. When he played at Chelsea, he was a menace to society. Some would say, probably should have ended up in jail. But
Yeah.
with that being said, that degree of entertainment, individuality, and authenticity is really what has always made football such a special sport. It's never always been about the biggest, fastest, strongest guy. The guy who's 6'7" is not necessarily going to be better than the guy who's 5'8". And I think that is what makes it truly, truly special.
Yeah. I already heard a lot of stories from my father talking about how was soccer back then in the 90s. And man, I really wish I was alive back there to see
Really?
how it was. Yeah. It looked so more entertaining for the fans, because the players, they didn't really care what they were talking. They
Mhm.
just want to
Just
talk
said it,
bad
yeah.
about the other players.
They're gonna do it.
And guess what? The other day they were there in the field and they were scoring goals.
Hmm.
So I think I prefer the
Yeah.
what Lamine Yamal did yesterday
Mhm.
for sure.
I think that's part of the game, and I think that's something that sports like, for example, the NBA has more
Yeah.
than football.
Hmm.
They don't. They have players that are obviously media trained as well, but I would say they have more players that really like to be more authentic, and I think that's something that we need that soccer players nowadays need to bring back. 'Cause
Yeah.
nowadays they just all want to be safe, correct, not say anything bad, and be honest. So
So
yeah,
we talk about this harm the media can do, but like changing a little bit how media can benefit a league or a player.
in a lot of ways. Because nowadays, if you see like how many players are quick to get like a brand deal or a night contract or whatever, I think it's very good for the players. But it's also I feel like sometimes also a bad thing because I feel like you kind of like taking money over the game, but at the end of the day, we probably all do the same thing in their situation. If Nike comes and say you get 1 million to post this, who's gonna say no? But that's just how it is.
I think that nowadays we all know that money moves everything,
Mhm.
and it's not different in soccer. The team that has the most money will get
Best
the
players.
best players. So coming back already again to Brazil, talking
Mhm.
about my team. Last year we signed Memphis Depay.
Mhm.
Then we look at his contract. The guy is getting 3 million reais, the money
Mhm.
from Brazil
Mhm.
per month, and a lot of fans and the media again complain, say, "Man, you cannot pay that much money
Mhm.
to a guy." But at the end of the day, as since we hired him, we signed him. Sorry, on our media social media accounts,
Mhm.
we got more than 3 million new
Follows.
followers since like
Caralho.
yeah in like 5 months.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, the guy pays himself. It's not Corinthians that is paying because now there are people all around the world because they want to watch where Memphis Depay is playing because the guy is 3 goals away from becoming the top scorer from Netherlands.
Oh yeah, true, true. I
Yeah.
saw that. Mhm.
So I mean, media helps a lot nowadays. The teams that had the most fans, it just benefits everybody in the team.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think?
Of course, bro. Like media nowadays can influence in such a good ways. Like let's talk about Memphis Depay. Now we have Memphis Depay, Neymar back in Brazil. We have Lucas Moura,
Oscar.
Oscar. So we have these big names, and they are known like worldwide. And of course, everyone wants to see them playing because they know how good they are. And like they influence a lot of kids,
Yeah.
Mhm.
especially Depay and Neymar. Everyone wants to be them. So the media over them is a crucial thing to set like the Brazilian league apart.
Mm.
Because nowadays, like I feel the international people they want to see these guys over there.
Yeah.
And they can see how good it is our league over there.
Fair enough.
You're talking about the all the kids want to be them. You know that thing that Memphis wear on his
Oh
head?
Yeah, the headband.
Yeah, the headband. So Corinthians starts selling that,
Mhm.
and like in 2 months, we got more than 500,000 reais just selling that because all the kids want that.
Mhm.
I want that, and I'm not even a kid anymore. I want to be like that guy because the guy like he's Memphis Depay. He's so big,
Mhm.
you know. So at the end of the day, you spending a lot of money to bring a mediatic player. It's not spending, it's like an investment.
Investing, yeah.
Yeah, it's just investing your money because there's no way your money is not coming back, you know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you to our guests for joining us once again.
Of course. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure, bro.
Pleasure.
Muito obrigado. Yeah.
Valeu.
Pleasure.
Thank you guys for the support. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribe. Fala Bonito.
Keep the ball rolling with Falabonito.
Fala,
Fala,
bonito.
fala.
Tamo junto, vai Corinthians.
Vamos junto.